Today I'm going to do a quick overview on Volkswagens, anywhere from 19 MK1, MK2, MK3, and this is an MK4. What it is this is 2.0. Most of them from MK1 all the way up to MK4 are pretty much the same motor-wise. The motor just looks a little different, but the basic concepts of them were different. Were the same. Now, this one's has an overheating problem, which I'm attempting to find right now. The most common problems on the overheating problem would be the cap itself is damaged. Also, around the seal right here is damaged. Now the sensors on these are built in on the inside, and they do go bad, and you have to replace the entire bottle. The newer ones have a sensor on the outside. You still have to replace the bottle. Now, most common problems with the heating, like I said, is the cap, the seal around the bottle, and these fine overheating lines that run down. Now, on the Volkswagen, like most cars, there is the water pump. The water pump on this one, and most of them, and the reason why I say most of them is the VR6 is placed differently, but the water pump's down in that area down there. I don't know if you can see that bottom pulley, that's where the belt's running, but that would be the water pump right there. The thermostat would be at the back of the water pump, underneath the AC housing in the back there, and that goes in. They're kind of difficult to change if you don't know what you're doing. It does take quite some time. The other common issues on these are on the MK1s, MK2s, where the breaking of the hoses on the bottom, they were the CSI system, so the rubber hoses, if your mounts weren't in good working order all the time, you'd break the bottom of the boot on the air box, and it would cause a vacuum leak. How those work was because they're a CSI system, it's a constant injection system. The airflow, that's the vacuum from the motor itself, would raise a diaphragm inside of the air box, and in the air box there's a pintle pin that runs up and adjusts a fuel component that's on them. The BMWs were the same way, and they would have a pintle pin where your fuel distributor was on top of your air box, and that would control the amount of fuel going in and out of the motor. The other most common problem on these are the vacuum tube for the braking system. This one's been replaced because it's broken twice. They overheat, and they dry up and they crack because the exhaust manifolds to the back, and this is a hard plastic, so they have a tendency of doing so. Overall, if it's not an electrical problem for your brakes, for your windows or your door locks, like this one has a door locking issue also. The older models from MK2, MK3 has an air vacuum system. The pump's normally in the trunk, on the driver's side of the trunk, and it has a tendency of breaking the vacuum lines. The vacuum lines are similar to the same lines that you use on the water system for wetting your windshield. It's that hard plastic line, and they have a tendency of drying up and cracking. Especially if your kids are jumping around on your back seat or whatever, it's going to crack that air line. Most of the hoses run underneath the back seat that go to that pump. So if you have a crack in that airline, your ear locks won't work for your automatic locking on your doors. Window regulators are a common problem on them too. Overall, I've had 5 of them. The last one I sold was an MK3. All of mine have been Wolfsburg editions, and every one of my Volkswagens have over 200+ thousand miles on them. They run forever, as long as you maintain them. You have to maintain, just like any car. But you will get a lot of miles off of your cars if you maintain them. You pick them up pretty cheap. The resale value on them are very high. So you can pick up a Volkswagen pretty cheap. Most people just run them to the ground, so it's kind of a pain if you buy one that's not in good working order, and you got to put a lot of money into them. They are kind of a high maintenance vehicle to a certain degree, but it's all what you like. If you don't take care of a car, then you're going to run into issues. Overall, most of the other, just This is just a cap on top. There's one screw and then two screws, three screws over there. 1, 2, 3, and they pop out pretty easy. And then this top comes off. In order to change the valve cover on the MK2s, the 2.0 motors, you have to remove the intake manifold. So there's a kit that you can buy, and it comes with your intake manifold, your couple of the breather gaskets also, and then this whole piece comes off, and then you can change the valve cover. 10mm bolts on most of it. It's most of Volkswagen's 10mm and 13mm. I mean, for the majority of taking anything apart on the Volkswagen, as you can tell, they're all 10s all the way around. 10mm. They're pretty simple. So they're really not that difficult. A lot of them it's just hoses, cracks. I'll give you more updates on them on my next video. This video probably didn't come out too good, but that's alright. I don't even know if the volume's working on it. Thanks again for watching.